Hey guys, I'm Grestar, and how about we watch a death battle, Leon Kennedy versus Frank West. Of course, make sure to click on the link in the description below to go to the official release first, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and then come back here and we'll watch it together. Again, I do apologize if the sound in my room right now is worse than usual, particularly if it's echoey or the like. Again, check the update video on my channel. It should be a little ways back at this point if you're curious about that. But yes, this death battle, Leon versus Frank. So Resident Evil versus Dead Rising, I believe it is. So as I mentioned briefly in the last death battle, Sword vs. Pit, I've played, I think it was Dead Rising 2 a little bit. Certainly not all the way through. We actually, I believe, no, it was actually, oh, that's funny that I thought about this. I was gonna say we bought 2 copies of it before we got one to work. I was living with my friend at the time. But no, we only bought 1 copy of Dead Rising 2, and then that one worked, and then we just didn't have the best of times with it. What we bought 2 copies of was actually Resident Evil 4 before we got the second one. Like, the first one we got was defective or whatever, you know? So it's just funny that I made that mistake, because Resident Evil 4, Leon, he's in it. That's not like his debut game, but he's definitely in Resident Evil 4. Trust me, I know. So I have very little experience with Dead Rising, just the franchise itself. But I am more familiar with Resident Evil. I have seen one of their animated films, with Leon actually as a star, but it's been quite a while. I just remember that, you know, it's him and he was awesome and stuff like that. And I have played games 1 through 6. Like, the 7th one's out now, but I haven't played that one. That one really changes things, right? It gets all first-person horror-y again. Loses the kind of action element a little bit. As in, you're not, like, shooting or anything. But yeah, I played 1 through 6. And I played, like, one of the rail shooters or whatever. You know, the spin-off kind of game. I don't think I've played any of the other ones, even if I might own some. I just, you know how it is. At least for me, I own a lot and that I've just never touched. But I have much more experience with the Resident Evil franchise than I do with Dead Rising. But because, you know, first, I'm not awesomely smart or anything, and I'm forgetful, and I don't know Dead Rising stuff, I can't really do any comparisons yet. So I really am just gonna have to wait for the analyses. Like, I know Leon is awesome, but I don't know how awesome, and I don't know if he's only awesome in his universe and how his awesomeness stacks up to, like, Frank's supposed awesomeness. I say supposed because I'm unfamiliar with it. So with that said, let's get to watching. And play. Alright, here we go then for another death battle. It's Leon versus Frank. Go. I mean, you're already talking, but like, just do it.
Worth of firepower. With all that and some luck, these two became experts.
That was an interesting movie.
Fighting.
Leon Kennedy, the top cop and government agent in Resident Evil.
And Frank West, the backyard wrestling MacGyver of Dead Rising.
Yup.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
Just uses whatever's available to him.
It's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Like, Dead Rising is so much goofier.
As a child, Leon Scott Kennedy's father instilled in him a strong sense of justice. Following in his footsteps, Leon joined the police force, determined to uncover the darkest riddles and uphold the law.
So, for his first ever assignment, he took the biggest challenge he could find. Instead of picking an easy job like dishing out dastardly parking
so
tickets,
this was his
he
first?
was off to Raccoon City to investigate a bunch of
Really?
mysterious murders.
His instincts were good, perhaps too good. Officer Kennedy wound up choosing the most challenging and dangerous assignment he possibly could have.
Yup.
Yeah, turns out Trash Panda Town was due for a big old zombie outbreak, and Leon got stuck in the middle. How's that for hazing the rookie?
He wasn't a rookie for long. After fending off the zombie threat and even taking a bullet,
From the grassy knoll?
Leon was recruited by the American government as a special agent, bodyguard, and their go-to specialist for apocalyptic events.
That's
In
right.
all cases, the people that are bitten become infected themselves and go on to attack others. The only way to stop the spread of infection is to destroy the infectee's brains. Shoot them in the head.
His training
That's
at
right.
the police academy turned him into a pretty tough guy. But as a special agent, he became unstoppable.
All thanks to his extensive firearms training, extreme driving tests, and the study of tactical
I
response.
am absolutely hoping for him
Guess
to win,
what
of course.
martial art they teach
the
American
way.
Secret Service members? A traitorous Russian one called Systema, and Leon is an expert at it.
Systema is a free-form martial art focusing on disabling targets via pressure points and joints. While not specifically lethal on its own, Systema also involves quite a lot of training with knives and firearms.
That's good, because I don't think fists would be enough to take on monsters like the tyrants.
No,
Skinless
those
dogs.
suck so
Is that
bad.
Gene Simmons?
Right, these bioorganic weapons, or BOWs, were far tougher than your ordinary run-of-the-mill zombie. Thankfully, Leon has the weaponry to take them on.
He's efficient with just about any kind of gun, but like me, he loves carrying around his favorites, including the Silver
pretty cool.
Ghost, a unique pistol specifically designed for him. He's also got a modified 50 caliber Desert Eagle Magnum, a gift from his father. Lucky
Aw.
bastard. All I ever got from my dad was a sore cheek.
While he has
Aw.
no problem dual-wielding handguns, Leon is extremely proficient in dealing damage with heavier weapons, such as the M203 grenade launcher or his ludicrous rocket launcher special.
Luda!
This red-tipped wrecker of an RPG is far more powerful than an ordinary propelled grenade. The gun itself looks similar to a classic RPG 7 model,
does.
first used as an anti-tank weapon by the Soviet Union. Since the red grenade is so deadly, it's probably a thermobaric explosive booster, which can launch over 600 feet for a 60-foot wide
It's nice
explosion.
that Boomstick knows all that.
That's more than enough to take down one of those bow wows.
Leon has plenty of experience with hand grenades, rifles, flamethrowers, etc., but one weapon stands above them all: his knife.
Oh yeah, Leon's combat knife is way more than some plain old red cutter. He's practically magic when it comes to his skill with a knife. And if he gets hit, he'll be fine. Probably. I mean,
Probably.
he's wearing lightweight level 3 tactical body armor, which can stop bullets from a magnum and even some rifles. If he does take a hit, he's carrying some healing herbs, which he can also take a hit
course.
from, if you know what I'm saying.
He's not snorting drugs, Boomstick. Healing herbs have a history of being applied as an aerosol spray or ground up within paper.
Well, once Leon became the government's numero uno answer to all their zombie problems, he was stopping outbreaks all over the world. He had to pull off some awesome feats to do it. He even had to make some horrible sacrifices along the way.
No.
Like that poor Ducati.
Leon is strong enough to crush a skull or even force open the jaws of a giant infected shark. The shark appears to be similar in size to a great white, which has a
like
bite
that.
strength of nearly 2 tons of force.
That shit's crazy! And speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about Leon's relationship with boulders.
Relationship with what?
Boulders! You know, they're like really big rocks. Think you would know that. Well, he fought Chris Redfield to a standstill, the famous boulder puncher himself.
Yeah.
And while Leon doesn't seem to have Chris's brute strength, he did push over this giant rock with a little help.
Leon is pretty quick too. He's dodged bullets, a moving laser grid, and even outraced this tyrant, which, according to the Inside of Biohazard guide, could run up to 43 miles per hour.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
even thrown his trusty knife fast enough that this creepy guy didn't even react until,
The
Yeah.
average time for a person to perceive and react to movement is 1/4 of a second. Leon appears to be about 30 feet away from his target Salazar here, meaning he threw his knife around 80 miles per hour.
The average speed for most world-class knife throwers is only 35 miles per hour, so he's more than double that.
Leon is tough, having
Yeah.
survived blows from various large and burly BOWs. He even matched the strength of Umbrella agent Jack Krauser. Krauser was strong enough to perform a 30-foot vertical jump. Generally, men can pull off a 2-foot vertical jump at most, making Krauser potentially 15 times stronger than the average man.
Granted, that's in the legs, but
Point,
still.
let's just say that Leon is basically superhuman.
Yeah.
It's like he has 0 weaknesses.
Au contraire, Boomstick,
Oh,
Leon
no.
has his fair share of baggage.
Oh, no.
He's pretty gullible, oftentimes tricked by those wilier than himself.
Go. Save yourself.
Is it just me, or does everybody always ignore what I say?
Like
Poor
her?
Leon.
You think he just might be trying to get laid? Lord knows I've done a few dumb things on that quest. I don't know about his chances, though, rocking that hairdo.
But after more than 15 years of nightmarish catastrophes, Leon's mental state has become more fragile and more reliant on alcohol.
Yeah.
Ah, you and me both, pal. He always needs a little chaos in his life, and when it comes down to it, that's what makes him such a friggin' badass.
Better try a new trick, cause that one's getting old.
All right, time for Frank.
Upon first impression, Frank West seems to just be your average journalist, but he's far more than that.
I'll say he's covered wars, you know.
As a photojournalist, Frank will regularly go far beyond the call of duty to uncover his next big scoop. It was this ironclad determination which led him to a mall in the town of Willamette, Colorado, where he found the zombie apocalypse.
Oh no!
Did you just say zombies?
But Frank's down to rough
that his
up
voice?
dozens of zombies every now and then. And with his wrestling history and battlefield experience, he's got the skills to do it.
Despite never having fired a gun at another person before Willamette, Frank discovered he's a natural when it comes to firearms.
He's handy with all sorts of guns, like pistols, shotguns, machine guns, and a beautiful minigun.
Oh wow,
I love
really?
it. He's even got a Silver Ghost, a unique pistol specifically designed for government agent Leon Hey,
Wait.
wait a minute.
But bullets can only last so long against a never-ending zombie horde, so Frank was forced to improvise.
And thanks to being in a shopping mall, he had plenty of options.
From obvious choices like sledgehammers, baseball bats, and chainsaws to out-of-the-box picks like shampoo, lipstick, lawnmowers, and a shopping cart,
Yeah.
Frank has an uncanny ability to effectively weaponize pretty much anything he gets his hands on.
Garbage, toys, food, you name it. This guy does not overlook anything's death-dealing potential. He even uses his camera flash as a weapon.
His primary camera appears to be a Nikon D100, which has a flash color temperature of 6000K, or crystal white. When used up close, it's nearly as effective on the eyes as a flashbang grenade.
Anyway, Frank survived the zombie horde with flying colors. His next step was obvious. Profit from it.
He became famous overnight. He was named the Hero of Willamette, hosted a TV show, and scored all sorts of endorsements.
His love of using baseball bats to smash zombie skulls in even landed him a great commercial deal with Deadwood Pro Baseball.
Well, good for
so
him.
He's making tons of money off of killing people. My dream.
I know, right? All these zombies were technically people once, so when you really think about it, this whole situation is pretty
Freaking awesome! Ah, living the dream, buddy. You earned it.
Anyway,
Just let him have
fame
this.
is a fickle mistress, and it wasn't long until Frank's 15 minutes of fame were cut short.
Oh, no.
He eventually became a college teacher, but not before several more encounters with the undead kind.
And the more he fought him, the more creative he got about it.
Frank's
What?
greatest asset is his impressive ingenuity. With nothing but his blood, sweat, and tears,
And a shitload of duct tape,
Frank perfected the art of combination weapons.
like the paddle saw, where he took a kayak paddle and strapped on a couple chainsaws for a rip-roaring good time.
Wow,
The
okay.
electric crusher is an invention combining the power of a car battery with the weight of a sledgehammer, crafting a Mjolnir for mortals.
The Blitzkrieg is a freaking wheelchair powered by a car battery, firing machine guns all over the place.
Uh-huh.
Stephen Hawking could have even beat death with that.
He can make a laser sword by sticking a gem into a flashlight. Don't ask me how.
Okay.
And the Reaper is the unholy union of sickle and samurai sword. Wow, and all that is just scratching the surface. He's even got combo vehicles like the exosuit.
That's a suit made of slurping machines.
How?
Which shoots ice tornadoes. Talk about cool, pun intended.
Even stranger, Frank has used an arcade machine to miraculously copy some of the powers of fellow Capcom characters.
Really?
You're a wizard, Frankie.
No, he's not magic. These powers come directly from costumes most commonly obtained from the machine. For example, he can don Ryu's ki to perform hurricane kicks, or Mega Man X's armor complete with a Mega Buster.
You
Wow.
are what you wear. Speaking of costume changes, sadly, Frank eventually was caught by zombies and wound up becoming another mindless slave of the undead horde.
Oh.
But it's okay. He got better.
Frank has pulled off a lot of
Alright.
impressive feats. Despite having
I
little
guess,
formal
okay,
training aside
Barnaby's
from
lab,
maybe
sure.
a 3-day combat journalist crash course, he's killed hundreds, maybe thousands of zombies, giving him one of the highest body counts in video game history.
He's really strong too. He can pull a zombie's limbs and head off no problem. And in the exosuit, he's pushed around a 2-ton car.
He's tough enough to survive long falls and devastating helicopter crashes with little issues. And he's quick enough to catch up to and board a train moving 15 miles per hour in less than 3 seconds. He can even hop off zombies' heads like a ninja so well that the zombies barely even notice.
Wait, they don't notice that he's literally jumping off their heads? How the hell does he pull that off?
I don't know.
Very careful. But
I don't know
Frank
how
is
any of
far
this
more
game
than
works.
Just mindless zombies.
Yeah, like some crazy clowns with chainsaws and a freeze gun, and plenty of other psychomaniacs. This is my stuff! including Lance Corporal Calder, the world's first intelligent soldier zombie.
Also, I think it's important to note many of these feats were performed in a span of 72 hours with no sleep or rest. According to a study on sleep deprivation in 2010, an average human's physical and mental health begins to severely deteriorate after 36 hours of no sleep, resulting in disorientation and even hallucinations.
Here I thought heavy drinking was the only way to legally hallucinate. Well, time to binge Netflix until I trip balls.
Whether by inhuman stamina or just a shit ton of adrenaline, Frank was in peak condition for twice as long as he should have been.
There's that journalist determination again. Sure, he may be a bit of a self-serving asshole, but he's pulled off the impossible more than once, even when he got into his 50s.
Once a survivor, always a survivor.
Snag your very own disposable digi-jeep disposable cash.
Dang it.
Fantastic. I mean it. Seriously. I need a raise.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, let me tell you about how you can be the MacGyver of the kitchen.
Alright. Skip. It's time for a death battle, and I should get ready to pause. Pause. It's a little late on that. Anyway, okay, so thinking about this, I'm torn. I really want Leon to win. I don't like Frank, really. No offense to anyone who does, but that, like, the more that I heard about that series, the franchise, through the course of this, the more I got, like, annoyed with it. I mean, because I can get behind people being spectacular and still just calling them humans. You know, like Leon, he absolutely pulls off, like, inhuman feats. Batman, he pulls off inhuman feats, you know? And Frank pulled off inhuman feats. But then I reached the point where it's like, okay, so you're saying that in a mall with, like, no training or anything in this, you built a mech suit out of slushy machines that can shoot, like, ice tornadoes. You built a lightsaber out of a flashlight and a gem. Like, I can't, like, that part just annoys me, you know? It doesn't follow any realism at that point. And so, you know, like, I want Leon to win, but I'm not sure that he can when his opponent can just, like, literally do anything with anything from the sounds of it, you know? So the thing that I don't think we really got any, like, much on was what kinds of opponents Frank himself has actually gone up against. You know, obviously hordes of zombies. And then some, like, boss guys, too. I know there were boss people like, this is my store, get out of my store. Whatever the dude was who yelled with weird mouth movements and stuff like that. But I don't... Oh, and that intelligent soldier zombie kind of thing, you know? But I don't know what he's done beside that. I don't know how his durability really is. And so it's hard to gauge that. You know, he's magic and can apparently just don the costumes of arcade characters and get their powers, which again is just dumb to me. I don't think I like that franchise. Like I said, I only played a little bit of it because it didn't hold my attention. You know, I just didn't have a ton of fun with it. And then to hear this, yeah, it just bothers me. So it's hard to say. But I know that Leon can survive really powerful hits, you know, because he has from the giant friggin', like, zombie creatures that he ends up fighting. I know that he's really fast. I know he thinks quickly on his feet. I know that he, you know, maybe he doesn't have the same ingenuity as Frank from the looks of it, where he can just combine random things into magical miracle weapons. But he's very proficient in what he has. So they're both proficient with a bunch of firearms from the looks of it, and then Frank has his improvisation, whereas it seems like Leon only has his knife. But I'd like to think with his special training and everything that he would be pretty good at improvising too, Leon that is, you know. So even if his knife weren't accessible, I'd like to hope that he could still do stuff with what's lying around. Again, not to the same magical miracle working kind of thing that Frank has, but I don't think that makes any sense, so I don't blame Leon for that. I would be more annoyed if he could do that kind of stuff with it. At least I really hope that I would be. But Leon also has the special training with, like, the Russian style of fighting, the disarming techniques and everything like that. So that could come in handy. He's particularly fast, you know, like, I assume faster than the average human. I assume that's what they were going for with that. I don't remember the exact speed, though, so I can't say for sure. But I think it was faster. And yeah, I worry about the gullibleness the whole like flash of the camera and the flashbang kind of thing, and Frank's crazy improv powers. It's just magic. It really is. But I'm hoping that Leon's natural strengths and his training and his just experience, because he's definitely, they've both fought tons of just regular zombies, but Leon has also fought like a big variety of super zombies. So I'm really hoping that he'll be able to take on one mall clown. So I'm gonna say that Leon will win and play. Really hoping. Again, sorry to everyone I'm offending about Frank, but
Outbreak containment. Yet there are still reports of looters within the city. Who knows what these people think is worth braving certain doom to get?
Sweet! Just what I was looking for.
stealing from the hardware store.
What are you doing? No one's supposed to be here.
Never stopped me before, pal.
Right, story, thank you. Or Frank's just being a dick, yeah. That, you already lost your gun.
Batter up! See you in a flash, buddy.
You got this, Leon. Kill him. Murder him. It's justified, don't worry. Well, he made his Mjolnir. I mean, so far that's been the,
You can't keep up with me.
particularly the first bit, but that was the coolest part of the fight so far.
I've covered wars, you know.
That's got to be a saying often in the game, right? Because they use that here and in the analysis.
I fought
Lucky me.
Do that instead of dodging. Ow! Into the arcade, of course. And he's got his... He's got his suit. You got this, Leon. You got this, Leon. You got this, Leon. I don't know either, man.
It was ice fighting with you, buddy.
Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Not Leon. Kill Frank.
Game over.
Yes, maybe. I'm so hopeful. Yes.
Something tells me
Thank
Frank
you.
won't be coming back from the dead this time.
Okay.
Frank's cheeky strategies and endlessly creative arsenal certainly put up a good fight, but in the end, Leon just had him beat in nearly every other category.
Frank was one tough cookie, but Leon's superhuman abilities were just more impressive. Frank's pushed a 2-ton car, right?
Yes, which is similar to Leon holding back the shark's 2-ton biting force. But his boulder feat was much more impressive. By comparing the boulder's size to Leon, it appears to have weighed around 9 tons at minimum. While Leon did have help pushing it, even half of 9 tons is much heavier than anything Frank's lifted or pushed.
Leon and Frank seemed equally tough, but Leon was definitely quicker. Bullet timing, laser dodging, and hell, Leon's speed and precision with his knife on its own is more impressive than any speed feat Frank
Am I so
did.
relieved?
But in the end, the most important question was whether or not Leon could cope with Frank's insane weaponry and unpredictable creativity.
Yes.
But Leon's seen plenty of crazy shit in his career and fought Lots of surprising and off-putting monsters.
His years of formal training and more consistent combat record certainly lent him the experience needed to win. He's survived numerous battles with enemies powerful enough to one-shot him, and he's shown plenty of creative strategy and critical thinking mid-fight.
Good,
Like
yes.
when he fought Tyrant Glenn, using momentum from his own injuries and throwing a friggin' motorcycle through the air. Leon was just too fast, too strong, too experienced, and too badass. He was frankly on his game.
The winner is
Ah,
Leon Kennedy.
Claps for Leon. Claps for Leon.
Thanks for watching this episode of Death Battle. If you want to check out commentary for this episode, you can click the little box right over there for our first membership.
It's not often where I'm like so against one of them winning. But I really didn't want Frank to win. Next time on Death Battle, Doctor Strange. I don't know the other one. Versus Fate. I don't know Fate. I know Strange, but you know, because of the movies that are out recently. Okay, so let's talk about, well, yeah, there's nothing to talk about with the next time. I've seen the Doctor Strange movie and I liked it. You know, I saw, was he in Civil War at all? I don't think so. But I did see Infinity War, so he's also in that. Anyway, but I don't know about Fate at all, or if I do, I don't recognize him or his name, so hey, you know, it's hard to say. About this Death Battle then, yeah, I'm glad I was right, both because, you know, like, one, I like being right, two, I like Leon a lot more than I like Frank. I feel I can actually root for Leon, and then, you know, again, I wasn't interested in Dead Rising the game. I, you know, grew to dislike him more and more as time went on in the analyses. And then once the battle started, I just don't like him, his personality, or his story, I suppose you could say. Which is unfortunate. You know, usually I wouldn't care. But the fact that he could potentially have killed someone I like and all that, you know, so like, yeah, I'm glad. I don't think I would have made a huge fuss if he had won, because it's just a matter of like, well, yeah, I mean, because his arsenal, like, his game is just designed to let him do whatever, so I guess. But I'm glad that he did not. Not a ton else to say, I suppose, on that front. Glad I won. I agree with the reasoning, I suppose. Because I had assumed, I had hoped at least, since they didn't talk about, you know, like Frank's durability or like the kind of foes he's gone up against, that he didn't have anything super substantial or out of the ordinary. And so I was just relying on the fact, yeah, they didn't say that stuff, but I knew about Leon's stuff and that, you know, they explained some of that. So that's all I could really rely on. I definitely didn't do a comparison of like the pushing cars with the mech suit and like the shark or the boulder. Like I didn't make those comparisons in my mind. I just didn't go there at all, really. They're like strength comparisons in that sense. I was mostly just worried about the stupid improvised weapons capable of doing whatever they wanted to do, with barely any, you know, like logical explanation behind it. I did enjoy the fact that this one had a story, that this death battle had a story. It was, I mean, like, it was pretty limited. It was just like, hey, the zombie apocalypse is here, and don't loot things. I'm gonna loot things. Hey, you shouldn't be looting things. I don't care. That's the story wrapped up. But like, it was serviceable for me. Like, it worked for me. I think the coolest part of the fight really was just like the very first time the zombies pushed down the fence and they started coming in. And so like they're fighting zombies and then they're fighting each other and then they're fighting zombies. It looked cool to me. And I just enjoyed that, seeing them be forced kind of to multitask, because otherwise they just, you know, the other person would kill them. So I enjoyed that. Again, particularly the first time we saw it, a little bit the second time, but I think they should have just kind of extended the first time. And I do think that in this death battle too, the sounds I don't think registered as well from it. I mean, I don't think they, what is it? You know, they didn't have the same impact. That like in the last death battle, I thought the sound was good. I didn't think it was as good this time, but to be fair, maybe I was distracted by my own hopes that Leon would kill him. I don't know. Like, I'm just throwing that out there, that my bias could have interfered with me actually properly hearing and experiencing all of the sound design. But you know, in my experience, and that's why you guys should be watching this, to get my experience and my viewpoint, I just didn't notice that. It seemed lacking to me. It wasn't exactly the most exciting either, but I think it can go to the same kind of thing where a lot of what would generate the excitement normally happened to be things that would annoy me. Like, he fiddles around in his shopping cart and, you know, he has like a super cool weapon now. Or there happens to be an arcade machine nearby, and so, you know, he transforms into Mega Man kind of thing. Which, by the way, had Frank won, and that was part of the animation, or that was like a big part of how he won, I might have had some complaints considering the death battle is about who would win the majority of the time, and if the arcade machine would have been like integral to Frank winning, well, you're not gonna find an arcade machine just lying around the majority of the time. In fact, a lot of Frank's stuff you wouldn't find lying around the majority of the time, you know? Since he doesn't have a set arsenal, it's hard, I guess, to put him in a death battle without just giving him things, but it does a little bit, it bends the rules of death battle a little bit, where it's, you know, the majority of the time, this was like, if they're in this area, if they're in this area, if they're in this area, you know, it kind of takes away from their innate skills and focuses more on, like, how they're opportunists, but it's limited, you know, like, opportunists when they're able to be, sort of thing. So it can be difficult, I imagine, to properly implement those sorts of characters, you know, characters like Frank, who really do rely on specifics in their environment. Yeah, the analysis, I don't really have anything else to add, other than, like, things I've already said, so I'm gonna leave that there. Let me know what you guys thought about this death battle in the comments below, whether you liked it, whether you disliked it, what you thought about this or that, etc., so on and so forth. I again apologize for everyone who I must have been annoying greatly with my rooting against Frank. If you like him, that's awesome. I'm glad you do. I hope that you have a great time playing the Dead Rising games. It's just not for me. I prefer, as silly as it may be sometimes, I prefer Resident Evil. Any day, you know, over Dead Rising. So yeah, but let me know. And with that, we're calling it here.